There's something in the basement. That's a fun sentence, eh? Not quite a story, more of a hook, an opener to get the audience invested in minimal time. But you know what is a story that's just as long? For sale. Baby shoes. Never worn. Howdy, I'm AJG. Today's story, The Mystery of Fictional Mysteries. I've just shared with you a famous example of flash fiction, the art of making the deepest story in minimal word count. They say someone challenged Ernest Hemmingway to write a 6-word flash fic. Flash with an F. He took one moment and responded with baby shoes, as if it were just conversational. The only issue is that there's no evidence that this ever actually happened. The reason I'm sharing this with you is to segue into the best told story video games. Best told. We're looking at the presentation here. The Mystery of Havel the Rock. So, I will now both defeat Havel the Rock and tell you his story. And in doing so, I shall surpass the fictional Ernest Hemmingway. And then, the bell will toll for me. I'm sure you know, but it all began as a wizard lizard turned traitor. But that's ancient history. I'm sure you already know that. Our involvement shows up when we find a watchtower basement key. What warns us that there is in fact something in the basement? A basement man betrayed by his friends, locked in the basement. In that basement we find this basement man, who drops this ring. That is the ring of Havel the Rock, whose set this man is also wearing. On it, we learn of his battlefield companionship and his compatriocy with Lord Gwyn himself. Compatriots. That's his only friend, at least referenced in the game. So, our only suspect for the jailer is Gwyn himself. So, now it's a reverse mystery. We need to discover why this man was jailed by his friend. There's something in the basement of Havel. We discover, next to a bunch of Havel's gear, an occult club, which is significantly worse than what he's got on right now. Unless he wanted to kill God. That gives Gwyn self-defense as motivation. But now we need a motive for Havel himself. If he had armed against Gwyn, he would need motivation. In the basement of reality, the final basement, as they call it, Ashen Lake, we discover a miracle. Turns out, he was sworn enemies with Seath, and he hated wizards. Unfortunately, that's all we really get in this game. It's time to connect the dots. Let's deal with our known unknowns. Why was Havel locked up in the Watchtower basement? Why did he have an occult club? Why did Gwyn betray him and they're seemingly such good friends?
Maybe Havel had wizard-lizard racism from the war. Wanted Seath, Gwyn was in the way. Then again, maybe Havel turned traitor. His gear all suggests he actually envied the dragons. Or maybe, just maybe, Havel knew about Seath's secret sex crime basement. Despite this lore being told in the past tense, where the player should not be able to influence it, this story is interactive. Not because it's a game, but because the player has to interpret it. In addition, when the madness is shared, feedback alters it further. The archaeologists essentially create speculation, speculative fiction, fan fiction. In a game where strength is irrelevant without countering a counter-strat, Havel got countered. When you think of the story of Dark Souls, think of this. Yeah, there's no saving the world, we know. But this political thriller optical illusion is undeniably the modern manifestation of advancing the humanities with effortless and optimized classical mastery. It's complete in only 5 sentences, from just 3 item descriptions, obfuscated behind the pretext of every distraction between the furthest extremes of the most intricate epic's most secret secrets. There are rumors of a hero turned hollow who was locked away by a dear friend. Havel the Rock, an old battlefield companion of Lord Gwyn, was sworn enemy of Seath the Scaleless. Occult weapons were used to hunt the gods. The secret to an enticing mystery is to combo hook into revelation into hook into revelation. The secret to an enticing hook is tragedy, not just what has happened, but what could happen. There's nothing we can do about a murder. We just want to make sure it cannot happen again. But if we arrest the wrong person, then we've only propagated the injustice. Havel and the Key draw us in with the usual gameplay promises before hooking us with the ring. We get the plot twist with the club, where Havel might have been the aggressor, before getting to the real Eureka moment with the spell. If the story revolves around a mystery, then the moral revolves around the truth. But what good is a solved riddle? The truth can recontextualize the journey or hide a nice fortune cookie. But the important thing is what you do with it. Sometimes you decide the culprits weren't the bad guy. Sometimes you decide the truth is best covered up. But you never get to decide what is true. If nothing's definitive, you gotta speculate. You can moralize from there, but it's just speculation. The takeaway is that speculation makes you irrational and crazy, which is much better than discovering someone was just crazy all along. And they were you! And finally, Havel falls. Now, I want you to notice that second paragraph there. So, the fun thing about fictional mysteries is that they didn't actually happen. And unlike the truth, the resolution ought to be the most emotionally optimized option, given the evidence. Entertainment's entertainment. Dante's bravado seems practiced. The Spy seems nostalgic. And G-Man seems more G than man. When a mystery can largely be deduced, but relies on the player to do the heavy lifting, the Eureka hits hard because it's their own investigation. On top of that, when you realize it could recontextualize your entire experience, every tangential moment to the Eureka cascades into more Eurekas until you either run out or a new mystery is discovered. If it's big if true with no payoff, people aren't just going to deny themselves the fat buzz of solving the mystery. We don't know if this is Havel the Rock. He was wearing Havel's ring, but all Havel's knights did that. If we can assume this is Havel the Rock, then why can't we assume that he intended to rebel against the gods using an unholy enchantment? Why can't we just assume he got found out and Gwyn stuck him underneath the watchtower, because if he stuck him in the asylum, he would simply set up the prophecy? And why can't we just assume that we have enough evidence to convict him? We may never have justice, but we must have our parlor scene shootout. Havel the Rock, you have been found guilty of conspiring to usurp a divine right monarchy. For this crime, I sentence you to jail forever again, but now you are also dead. Great Lord Gwyn, Seath the Scaleless, you have been found guilty of using your positions of power to jail people who want you dead. For this crime, you will both be sentenced to capital punishment via cosplayer and not jail, because I'm consistent. And don't think I forgot about you, Ernest Hemmingway. You have been found guilty of de-legging a baby. You are sentenced to death via 3 consecutive airplane crashes. But don't worry, now people can make up stories about me. For I am the dick now, in that I solved the mystery, killed 4 people, and unlike your Jake Barnes, Hello? Yeah. Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, it would seem the viewers all assume that I'm dead at this point in time, yes. No, sir, I assure you that no one watches this far into any of my content. No, I'm pleased to report that you're still completely anonymous, sir. Nobody knew that you were the author all along. Baby Shoes has been pinned on the false Hemingway. The imposter will serve as a nice distraction. An imposter named Ernest? Oh, that is pretty clever, sir. I'd expect nothing less from the legend himself. Of course, sir. I'll continue to publish your content on this site regularly. Under your supervision, of course. After all, you are the proverbial legless baby.